calling the August 17, 2021 Chappaqua Library Board of Trustees meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the
republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any public comments? How can you tell us if there are any public comments?
No, I do not see any public comments.
Okay. So next on the agenda is acceptance of the minutes of July 27, 2021. That's everybody okay with them? You'll accept them? Yep. All right. One of those. I just have a comment. Sure. Sure, go ahead.
So I love to see every time there are some action item, those being listed in the minutes and not just be, there was a discussion. For example, sometimes, we ask for more information. And if that's listed, then we can follow up.
Okay, so you want to see something like more information was requested on the parking lot,
for example, from this person. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll Secretary and Lisa will make note of that. Is everybody okay with that? That's just a comment. So we can accept these as read. Okay, next we have the letter of engagement for attorneys Howard Miller and Christopher Kurtz, Bond, Sherman, and King, PLC. So, I have a motion to accept the engagement letter.
I move this be accepted.
A second? Okay, any discussion? I just want to say that people that have seen that they were engaging them, I've gotten a lot of great feedback. In addition to the issues that we had and the references, so I'm really happy that. So, all in favor? Aye. Okay, motion carried. Next, we have the letter of engagement for the audit firm PFK O'Connor Davis. Can I have a motion to accept the engagement letter?
I move that we accept the engagement letter for PKF O'Connor Davies.
Okay, anyone second? I second. Shirley seconds. Any discussion? Questions? All right. All in favor? Aye. Very good. Next, we have the engagement letter for accounting services for Joseph Gallo. May I have a motion to?
I move that we accept the engagement letter for Joseph Gallo as our treasurer.
No, we're going to appointments.
Oh, sorry, that's next. All right, so that's for accounting services.
Yeah. Okay, second, not. Thank you. Any discussion? Other than we're happy to welcome Joe back. All in favor? Aye. Okay, motion carried. Now, Lane, I'm going to appoint Joseph Gallo as treasurer. Would you like to make?
I'll make a motion to appoint Joseph Gallo as the Chappaqua Central School Library treasurer.
Okay, second. Shot. Okay, any questions, discussion? All in favor? Aye. So, Joe, thank you and welcome. We're really happy about this, and we're happy you're going to continue working with us. Okay, so now we're going to go to the approval of the final June 2021.
We need
Okay. All right. So we have the adoption of the retention and disposition schedule for your local government files. I have a motion to adopt the retention and disposition schedule.
I'll make a motion for the adoption of
Anyone
retention and
second?
disposition schedule.
Okay, so any questions? Anybody have questions about this for Andrew? No, we only just did one. Okay, all in favor? Okay, now on to the approval of the final June 2021 statement.
I move that we accept or approve the final June 2021 financial statement.
Okay, a second? Sure. Okay, so I actually have some questions. So some of the things we were way over and some of the things we were under.
Yes.
But it all balanced out. And do we need to keep in mind what we were way over for in the future?
Yes, I'm paying attention to that. We did change our buildings and grounds maintenance contracts by merging the snow removal and landscaping.
Right.
Bill and I talked about his hours. He was significantly over his hours under last year. When I looked at the numbers, over 65% of that was the roof, specifically also the COVID and the children's room. The children's room took up the majority of his time. We spoke, and he feels that number will come down significantly this year, and then we'll reassess for the following year. So he averaged about 16 hours a month over his original contract. But again, the vast majority of that was the children's room. The COVID work that had to be done at the beginning of the pandemic, some of the air conditioner that had been going on since 2018, I believe,
Right.
and the roof itself. So he's confident those numbers will come down. Correct, Bill? Are you muted?
You're muted,
Yes, correct.
Okay.
They should come down.
Yep.
Okay.
And then we will reassess for the following year based on a more normal year where we're not having so many things.
So then the
Do you have a
amount that,
question, Cheryl?
Yeah, related to what you said. So is it possible to add another column that has the projected variance at the end of the year to the statement?
Joe puts this together, so I'm sure he could.
They don't, the budget last year and to date, so far I know this year, it isn't really done on a month. There's not a month over month budget, it's just an annual budget. It hasn't been scheduled on a monthly basis, which makes it very hard to do like a year-to-date budget to compare to actual, which is why that's hard.
It's hard, but you can sort of project that based on what is
Well, then
happening.
you're re-projecting your budget each month.
You're just saying, you're not reprojecting it, you're just saying what would be the variance.
Well, there is a variance here.
That's variance looking back, what has been
Yeah, I
said.
don't know that there's a way to, I mean,
It's,
we're cash, we're not accrual, so.
There are some we could do, such as the Westchester Library System. We know we get billed twice a year, and that would be significant. So we can say, you know,
And what actually I think would be really helpful is to schedule out the budget monthly and do it where you are year to date versus budget to date, which we haven't done yet. But that would be a recommendation and a way to help see that going forward.
Yeah, because as is, it's sort of, you're just looking back and we don't know where we are,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. The best way to sort of do it is look at the percent of year to date that you spent and say, you know, you're happy if you're 50% through the year, or are you 50% of the way through budget?
Right.
That's
sort of the best way to
But the
eyeball
problem is
currently.
that it's not
Yeah, if you
a
have lumpy-
constant rate, so.
Yeah, if you have lumpy expenses, it makes that hard.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
but we could certainly work with Joe to see what we can put together.
Yeah, year to date, year to budget is the way that, because then you're, something that doesn't fall until last month, you're not expecting it till last month.
Right.
and then just the $449,505 is what we didn't spend of the budget from last year. Am I correct?
No, that would be, I believe
Was
it's
that the
379,200.
Okay, so the 379.
Yeah, the vast majority of that is personnel, and that was caused by COVID.
And that's
well, no, our final,
Right.
the amount we have at the end of the year
Okay.
should be the 449,505.
Right.
Right.
90,000 is essentially the differential there.
Yes, sorry.
Minus the 19,000 shortfall in the earning at the beginning. So it's really
No.
449.
No, our year-to-date final receipts less expenditures, it's 449,505. That's how much we have to move to our general fund.
Joe, is that true? I think.
Yes, that,
1,000 that you didn't get at the beginning, right? In the
No, but the year-to-date column is year-to-date total.
yes, and I just, also just want to emphasize that this is, only based on a cash basis of accounting. So when we get down to, doing the audit and dealing with accruals and such, that number's not going to be comparable.
So at what point you move this to the capital fund? After the audit?
No, I mean, it could be done right now. I mean,
We usually do it now.
yeah, we usually do it now.
So any other questions about the final?
And I guess the other thing to keep in mind is it goes to a general fund, which includes what we use for capital expenditures. But there have been years where people have drawn some of that money out and applied it to the operating receipts for the following year to help reduce taxes.
Right, and I can recall, when the audit report is prepared, that if we put too much into, of this surplus into capital, because of the accrual accounting and all of that, we may find ourselves with a general fund operating deficit, which we don't want to really do. So I would, since we can always move money into capital, the board can make resolutions on that at any other point during the year. There's no need to stack it up at this point.
So you're saying just leave it, it's in the general fund now, and leave it there.
Or just be a little bit more conservative as to how much you might want to move over to the capital. Because once the board makes that decision, it's there, and the audit would have to reflect that.
How about we think about it, and we don't have to do that tonight. We'll decide for next month. We'll look at everything and make a decision.
We essentially have, at the end of the day, 13.6% of our tax, of how much we tax people left over. While we have lots of large capital needs, that's a pretty big percent of how much you tax people that you didn't end up needing.
This year, I don't expect to see anything like that. Last year
Unless it was a little odd.
Yeah.
And it's been running somewhere between 8 and 10%.
Yeah, what I would suggest is, Joe, if the board is amenable to this, I would suggest Joe provides a recommendation for what percentage move to capital to keep as operating fund, and that way we can look at things like offsetting next year's taxes by utilizing.
So then we'll do that for next month. Okay, any other questions about the final statement? Okay, so all in favor of approving the final June statement? All right, now we're going to look at the July statement. We have a motion to motion to approve the July statement. Second. Anyone?
I'll second.
Okay, any questions about the July statement?
real quick on the technology line.
Mhm.
That's a monthly expense to
Yep,
WLS.
exactly.
Any other questions? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, motion carries. Now we're going to the capital fund. So happy to see more things included in children's group. Any questions on that? Move on to the approval of the.
But before you approve it, I just want to bring to everyone's attention that the balance in the capital fund for the children's room is in a slight deficit. We went back and looked at prior year expenditures that were originally charged to the general capital fund and moved it to the children's fund. So we're now sitting with about a almost $4,900 deficit.
It's not really a deficit in that we haven't lost money. It's just that money has now been transferred back.
Yeah, we just overspent from what was
you said more than
allocated.
150,000 that was originally designated.
The 150,000 was there so that we knew we had that money.
Right.
Whenever you do any kind of project, you know you need to at least figure there's going to be more that you're going to spend more. So we knew we at least had that amount earmarked for the children's fund.
Right.
So children's fund.
Right.
So,
well, we may want to consider just reallocating that overspending amount, if you will, to the general fund to just zero it out.
Yeah, I was going to say, should we zero it out and then simply?
I do expect some more expenses coming in.
But they can still be charged. I mean, at that point, it's all goes to the general fund,
Okay.
right? And we just simply get rid of or remove the children's room specific fund.
Correct. Right.
Whatever the project was essentially is done at this point.
Yep, that's fine.
And just like when we're done with the roof, we're going to move the balance back to the general fund and remove having a special fund for roof.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure. I just wanted to make sure you were aware that there was still just two strikes there.
We know it's never ending project.
So do we need to do something in order to affirmatively, essentially net out the children's room fund and take that as a line item off of the statement?
Yeah, I think, since these are board designated funds, the board should just, make a motion and, to effect this transfer.
Close the children's room capital fund or something like that.
That sounds right to me.
Okay. So, someone make a
I
motion?
just have one question.
Sure.
Then, all the expenses underneath the accounting of it, the records of it, how would that be kept?
It's not captured. I mean, essentially, you're combining it back into the general fund. So you no longer have a
Detail itemized.
We have all these bills and they're on file. And everything's earmarked. And do you want to explain this better?
And Joe can clear this up as well. Joe, even if we zero this out, we will still be able to go back into our records and pull a report that can itemize what was used, what was coded to that, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a historical record
Yes,
of what
exactly.
happened previously.
It's like all of these things were coded for the children's room. So
Right.
We can run.
But maybe part of the motion, could be that, any residual children's room charges just be charged to the general fund.
I don't even think we have to do that. We don't have to do that. We're just closing this out. And then we know there are going to be expenses. It's just like if the reference area needs something done, then that gets taken care of. So I don't really think we need to do that.
Okay.
We're just going to have a motion then to close the children's room capital fund.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay.
okay, thank you.
I'll make a motion to close the children's room capital fund and reconcile any final balances with the general fund.
And I don't think we have any questions. All in favor? Aye, very good. Okay, so on to approving the August 2021 bills.
I'll make a motion to approve the August 2021 bills.
Anybody want a second? Any second? Any questions? Okay. All in favor? Okay, so now we're going to talk about the money market funds and the interest that the banks are paying. And we want to.
Joe and I spoke. I think it makes sense for us to close the People's Bank account and move the money back into Westchester. It is twice the interest rate of People's, and they are a wonderful business to work with.
Wonderful, definitely. Great work. Okay, so we'll have a motion to close the People's United money market. I don't think we need to say the amount because it may not be exactly that.
The balance thereof.
The balance.
Yeah, there was one other thing that Andrew and I had discussed is that when we close out People's, that we can consider opening up a new money market within Westchester Bank to maybe house the funds for the capital funds.
Oh, that's a good.
So we would just separate those funds.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, for New York State annual report, I've been told by Westchester Library System they prefer to see like an account for the capital, an account for the operating, an account for fund balance, and that way
Makes sense.
makes it easy for them.
So we don't have to do that tonight.
I think they'll just do it as
You'll just do, we don't have to vote on it.
I don't believe so.
Well, so we're just going to have a motion to move the close the People's United Bank money market account.
and move the balance thereof over to a new Westchester Bank money market account.
So do you want to make that?
Sure. I'll make a motion to close People's United Bank money market account and move the balance thereof over to a Westchester Bank money market account.
Okay, second. Shot. Any questions? Okay, so all in favor? Well, I have to say, when I talked to the Westchester Bank people when I first became the president, I was really impressed with them, and I had thought, gee, it's too bad we don't have all our money there. And 8 months later, nothing. Okay, so now we're going to hear from Bill on the facilities report. So Bill has to unmute himself. Bill, you have to unmute yourself. Can you unmute him?
No, we can only request unmute.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Very good, Bill.
All right, first I want to apologize for missing last month's meeting. I'm very sorry. Time got away from me that day. But anyways, our roof is substantially complete. We did a warranty walkthrough last week. There are several punch list items that the contractor has to do before, before Tremco will issue the warranty. They are going to send us a bill. They were going to try and get it in for this month's meeting, but they won't be able to. So it will be somewhere around 90% the invoice coming until They complete the punch list work and we receive the full warranty. Then we can pay them in full. We're still waiting for their proposal on the stairs. And they've already done the drain work. They did a very good job. The roof looks good. I'm not aware of any leaks. So moving on now, I brought another nationwide solar company in. And the name of the company is SunPower. And they referred us to their local dealer, which is Sunrise Solar. I met with him. We talked about it. I showed him the electric bills. And he didn't run the numbers. He promised me he would, but he felt he is going to come to the same conclusion that the Verigy did, that we don't have enough consumption to justify the cost of the full array on the roof. So I'm gonna wait to hear back from him. He promised to run the numbers and I'll remind him. And then we'll look for another one. But I don't know, maybe we can scale it back. I did talk to him about that. But once they start the work, it's, you know, the matter of scale, it's not that big a difference between the full roof and half the roof. So they claim, but we'll continue to work on this. I think it's important to have a solar presence for the community on our roof. The ceiling repairs are, I'm meeting with them on site tomorrow at 9 o'clock, PK Interiors, and we will schedule the job then. So it'll be doing the repair out in the main library, which should take about a week, and then probably about 3 or 4 days in the children's program room. So we'll set all those dates. I don't know if you'll be around, Andrew. If not, I can fill you in after I meet with him. Okay. Okay, is there anything else, Andrew? What am I forgetting?
I know you were speaking to landscapers about the boulders. They did trim around.
They did all the trimming, yeah, but I wanted to show him personally the boulders. I could describe the trimming to him over the phone. So they took a, I did stop by that Saturday. Oh, I saw you, that's right. And they took a truckload, a big truckload full of debris out. They really cut back a lot and they mulched. So I think it looked good.
Anyone have any questions for Bill?
I think I had mentioned putting a building committee meeting on the calendar. And so, like, you know, the window cleaning, for example, I think it's something we're discussing, but I'd like to do that in the context of a more holistic next step. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't make sense to clean windows and then power wash the building.
Yeah, that's true.
So let's make sure we talk about that as a whole, not as a one-off project.
Sure.
Okay, I really didn't get that. I'm sorry.
Well, we're going to discuss the window cleaning at the next buildings and grounds meeting.
Okay, good.
And we're going to talk about what else needs to be done, so we're not, as Lane said, doing the windows and then power washing the building.
Right.
Okay, sure. Yep.
Okay. All right, next we have personnel. Andrew.
Okay, I'm requesting that we add a substitute librarian, a seasonal librarian as a collection development specialist to assist the children's room in weeding the nonfiction collection and moving it into the children's room with the children's department. Currently, there are about 7,000 items in storage. At best, they can do 50 books an hour. A lot of items will take longer than that.
At best.
That is at best. I think that is an optimistic. That is an optimistic number, and that will not be quality weeding.
I know from past experience.
Yeah, weeding is a tremendously time-consuming process. They can average about an hour and a half a day to work on the project due to all of the other work that they're doing. They are also about to start the back to school, so they'll be doing a lot of school visits, a lot of programming outreach. So this position would work with them. It would not be taking over the project, it would be assisting them on this project. It would double to triple the amount of time that is able to be spent in the course of a week on this project. It would last about a month because the person we are interested in the position will be resuming her work at the Rye Country Day School, where she works as school librarian. She would be willing after that to though stay on our staff as a substitute librarian, which is a position we call on for emergency coverage. We are looking to expand our substitute list right now, so this would be a qualified candidate who is familiar with our collection, familiar with our system, who would be able to then assist us. The total cost in personnel would be somewhere between $1,300 to $2,000 for that time period. They do have personnel issues that also are impacting their ability to have off-desk time. So the children's room there's some personnel issues that are taking a staff member away, so the other staff are covering. Right now, they will then need to get time off themselves throughout the year, as for the end of the year they do have a TTO to use. So this position would assist them. It would not be doing the work for them. They will be working on the collection. We have to remove a tremendous amount of material because we do not have the space to put all the material that is in storage back into the collection. We lost shelf space when we did the expansion, and then the fire inspector, if you remember, had us remove more shelving because it was, in the way it was laid out, was not up to fire code. So this position, I would like to appoint Megan Rose as a seasonal employee at the rate of $32.21 an hour. And then I would like that effective Monday with the start date to be determined. And then we will remove her from seasonal and move her to part-time available vacation substitute.
Okay, so you want a motion for this?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm actually happy to make the motion, and I want to say something about it. Having had the experience of having to move a children's collection to be automated and having to do the weeding, it's beyond the scope of the work of the librarians. When I had to do that, my school district hired somebody to come in who could do the weeding, because it is a tedious process and you're really ambitious thinking you're going to do 50 books an hour. Believe me, Robin. And you know, that other librarian did that work while I was teaching classes, and then would put the books and say, you know, then I'd have to look at them. So it's a really involved process. It needs to be done. So I wholeheartedly support this. And I'm happy to make the motion to appoint Megan Rose as a seasonal librarian at the rate of $32.21 per hour, effective Monday, August 21st.
Yes.
2021. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, now any discussion?
So for how long would that end?
It would be for about approximately a month.
Is it so many hours were
Up to
designated?
17 hours a week, which is the maximum civil service position and do as a part-time.
So 17 hours a week for how many weeks?
Approximately 4.
For 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's between 10 and 17 hours, depending on her schedule.
And how are we comfortable that she knows what to weed?
She's an experienced librarian.
Okay, that's what I didn't know. That's my
Yeah,
question.
Yeah, I was about to say, so this person is a collection development specialist. She's on a vast number of American Library Association committees, including ALSC. Robin Friedman, our head of children's services, knows her, is confident in her abilities. This is something she actually specializes in. And so she would be able to really analyze that collection that's there, determine if the material is still useful. Nonfiction does go out of date depending on what the topics are. So she would go through that and be working in conjunction with the children's department.
And in that 4 weeks time, would it then finish the project, or are you just making a dent?
It will make a significant dent. It will not finish the project, but it will let us get to a better position. Right now, they're averaging about 10 hours a week for the whole department. So adding another 10 to 17 will significantly speed up that process.
And so the current team will also continue to work on it.
Yes, yes. As I said, this is not to replace them or to take the work away from them. They will be working closely with her during this whole process.
Got it.
No, please.
I was gonna say, and then adding her to your substitute list. Did you have an open position on the substitute list?
So there are,
I don't know how
substitute works a little differently. There's no, civil service doesn't consider that a position. So you can have multiple substitutes because they're not allowed to have any schedule. It's literally for, okay, 2 people are on vacation, someone just called out sick, we now don't have anyone. We need to call them up for an emergency, or we know that this week we're not going to have anybody available, so we'll call them up.
So that wouldn't affect budget
Correct.
from that perspective because it would be taking an hour that somebody else isn't
Right.
otherwise earning.
Exactly. It's incredibly common in the library system where libraries are constantly looking for new substitutes because as people get part-time or full-time work, they tend to leave the substitute. But you can have a night where all of a sudden you've got one librarian in the building, they get a stomach bug, they have to leave. You then call these people who are on the substitute list and they come out.
Did you have a question, Sharon?
Well, comments on some questions. I am sort of uncomfortable with approving a task that should be part of a bigger plan or project. So to me, the project is to clear the theater because we need the space and we need to attend to its repair needs. So if there is a plan to clear the theater, and that involves reading, that involves purging these books out of the system, that means stamping them as discard, that involves carting them out of the library, which I don't know what is involved, and it also means reshuffling their whatever remains. So it's a package. It's not just one part. I don't want to approve hiring someone and end up with, for every box, end up with 3 boxes of keep, throw, we don't know, let's consult. Somebody else needs to review. But I would approve a plan that says we need 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks to do this project. And in that project, we need to hire someone. And in addition, there might be costs with carting things out or having somebody to purge them or whatever. So it's a package deal.
So that work is already being done. The children's room is already working through their own, they have a methodology, they have a procedure to do this. There's no cost for discarding the books. We actually tend to sell them back to, well, I'm sorry, what's the name of that?
Sustainable shelves.
Sustainable shelves. They pick up the books for us, they take them away. We have the pages already, once the books are on a cart, that these are being kept. The pages that are currently here, take the books and put them back. So it's not a piecemeal. We already have all of these pieces in operation. We already have this plan. This is an additional resource to help us accomplish the work that is being done.
And
So.
it's already a process, because when you read something, I'll explain it, or do you want to explain? I'm happy to explain. You look at a book, you have to figure out if the professional librarian looks at, let's say, a book on space, they have to see if it's up to date or not. And then they sometimes have, if it is, then you have to see, okay, how many times has this been signed out? Is it something you really want to keep? Is it a classic? And all of that has to get checked. Then the professional librarians will then look at it. It goes on a shelf. They'll decide we're not keeping this book because it doesn't have a planet in it or something. So then it's a clerk, not one of the librarians, but a clerk can discard it from the system. It gets stamped, and then out it goes to sustainable. If it's a book they're keeping, it stays in, it gets put on the shelf to be shelved, and a page will shelve it. So it's already a process that the library has in place. It's just what they're doing here is they need an extra person to do this work to help in the weeding. And weeding is a really tedious, onerous task. It really is.
And yeah, the clerks that we have and the pages we have are adequate for the non-analysis
Right.
portion of this. That's where we need an extra body.
So you can say if we approve this for 4 weeks, at the end of that, we have the theater cleared out.
We'll have the theater, I would say about 50+% cleared out from what we have right now. It gives the librarians the ability to focus on what they need to do in the coming months with the school visits, with the current work that they're doing. As mentioned, we have a staff member who has been having to take time off, so the other staff have been covering, but they also have to use their time off. So this, by allowing this person in here, it allows them to get the help they need currently and then resume the work as it goes forward. So this is really, this will get, right now, they're optimistically hoping it will take 14 weeks to clear it out by themselves. With this additional person adding the 17 hours a week at best, we'd be able to knock off about the 8 weeks of that. So that would drop it to about 6 weeks left of work for the staff.
So 2 more questions, I guess. One, the 3221, I'm assuming that's a flat, just pay rate, and there's no benefits,
Correct.
no
Yes.
anything like that goes with
Yes.
it, right?
Yes. And a seasonal employee is considered a temporary employee by civil service.
Okay.
So they can only be hired for a maximum of 3 months.
Okay.
It's used for often things like summer stuff where you need camp counselors, or if you need to bring on extra gardeners, for example, in parks and recreation, or you have it's also specifically for when you have a project like this, you need to bring on extra help, but not have them be regular part-time, which has all sorts of civil service protections that you wouldn't then normally be able to, if you didn't need them anymore, you would have to repurpose them.
And then my second question is, can we cap the number of hours?
Civil service has a cap for part-time of up to 17 hours.
No, I meant as a total for this project. So if you're telling me 17 hours times 4 weeks, that's 68 hours.
Yeah, we could certainly put that cap in if you'd like.
Put a cap in there in terms of, that way, if we need to revisit at that point, we can revisit with that. That way we have a fixed expense essentially. Does that make you more comfortable? Or?
No, I'm not uncomfortable with the expense. I'm comfortable with the timeline of the thing being done.
Right.
That we don't spend some money and still we don't have the theater. That's the expense is not a problem.
Yeah,
it's just like if you say it takes
if we
8 weeks, we need to hire this one, then let's do 8 weeks and be done with it, but not have her here for 3-4 weeks and then she has to go to another job and the stuff remains and the staff is busy and we still don't have a theater. So that's the concern.
So the reason we'd like this specific person is Robin is very comfortable with their skills and knowledge and trusts them to adequately lead our collection. We could try to find someone else. We would probably have to either train them or become comfortable with them and then have them for a longer period of time. We though feel that this will work for our needs, allow us to get most of the way through, about halfway through, maybe a little more than halfway. And then at that point, the staff are in a better position to resume working on that as well. So I'm comfortable with this as a project.
Okay.
The only question I guess you kind of answered it is, I was thinking, why don't we just go for the whole 100% rather than know that it's only going to be 50, but I guess.
If this person wasn't working, didn't need to go back to work, we would have considered it. If this person is willing to give us some nights and weekends and the board is willing to extend that, we would also be willing to do that.
I think.
But if we hire them as seasonal, we have them for up
We
to 3
didn't
months.
put a cap on this motion. The motion just says we're hiring her as a seasonal employee, 32.21, per hour. And that she can't work more than 17 hours a week. And if So we didn't put a cap on it, and the motion doesn't have a cap. So if, she doesn't get everything done and wants to come one day, on a Saturday and continue the work, because you also are saying you want to put her on the substitute list. So
Right.
that
But those are
means-
two different.
I know, but that means that she might be available to do some other work.
Would she
So-
be on the same rate as a substitute?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's the basic.
The only thing with the
rate.
substitute, we were not allowed to schedule them at all. So you can't say every Saturday you're here from 1 to 2. The second you do that, they're not a substitute.
Right.
So then they either have to be hired.
Are those two different motions then as one that?
We won't do the
We don't-
Don't do the
substitute
substitute now,
until later.
do that later.
Yes, so
Okay.
it would just
First,
be.
we're dealing with this.
Right.
Okay, any other questions about this motion?
Can I just add thing? Originally, our ideal was that we would have liked this person to come in and finish the project for a total of 3 months, because that was the requirement or sort of limitations of the civil service seasonal position, that it could not be longer than 3 months. And it could not be more than 17 hours. We found a perfect candidate with Megan, in that she was familiar, would work well with our staff. She works well independently because she is a school librarian and is all on her own and does the whole weeding for the school there for middle grades.
Yeah, she's middle school now, but she's previously worked in lower schools as well, so she's familiar with the entire range of our collection.
Yes, and then and yeah, she's very well qualified, and then in addition to that, she has worked here before. So we hired her actually to help us out in a pinch previously in 2018. So she's also familiar with the Chappaqua Library. So I think that's why we were hoping to get her working here sooner while her availability was, while she was still available.
Okay, any other questions on this? Can I call for a vote on this motion? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
I still need the timeline.
And you're opposed?
I would vote in favor of the captain with ours.
Okay, so we have to then
So we're
withdraw
going
the
to
motion.
amend the motion for a total of 68 or 70 hours, I think. I would be okay.
Would you, if it works out that after that she's willing and we need more time?
If we need more time and she's willing, then we can go back to it, and I'm okay going back to it, yeah, okay. But I just don't wanna, I want to make sure that everybody is motivated to get it done with this extra person. And not, it just doesn't sort of.
If we can do 70 hours, just so it's a nice even number.
Let's do 70. Okay, so we're amending the motion to what it was with hire Megan Rose as a seasonal librarian at the rate of $32.21 at hourly rate for 70 hours.
For maximum 70 hours.
Maximum of 70 hours. And then, so that's the amendment. I made the motion. You seconded. Now can we vote on it? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, so motion carried. Thank you. You're very welcome. And I'm happy that we're doing this. Okay, Andrew, anything else in personnel?
No, nothing else in person.
Okay, so.
Okay.
I
Good night, all.
And we don't have anything for policy
Correct.
today. We were thinking we might have, but well, the policy committee will explain that later. I'll do that. So we have the president's report, just very briefly. The Clinton's birthday celebration, actually, of the 19th is his birthday, was a big success. We've gotten great feedback on that. I was happy to join Andrew when Assembly member Chris Burdick and his staff, Chief of Staff Heather Miko-Lackey visited the library on August 9th. And we got a nice tour of the library. It was great that our Assemblyman was interested. And I was happy to learn that his mother was a librarian. We'll be having our governance workshop next Monday. And with Kevin Bergese from the Suffolk County Library System. And I am, well, during the day, for the next couple of days, attending the virtual United for Libraries conference. And United for Libraries is for trustees and friends and foundation members, and the topics have been interesting. Advocacy is one. Today we had budget, we had board governance, and there was diverse collection. So it's been interesting, and the good part about this is that because it's virtual and they're webinars, we can watch them for a year. So anyway, that's that. Andrew, we'd like to hear from you.
Okay. So the damaged windows have been replaced in the children's room. The frame and bench are still waiting for completion. We are working with the adjusters right now to make sure that we're adequately compensated for that. Sunshades have arrived. The installation is pending completion of the repair work. The roof restoration has been completed with the exception of the new stairs to be installed between the multiple roofs. Mr. Link is in the process of getting the work started. The library has been alerted there are water snakes in the pond by concerned parents. We've contacted animal control to have them relocated. Keating Electric has replaced the lighting in the test fixture in the new cafe area. It's currently working well, and we're investigating how to best move forward. We've engaged PK Interiors to repair and replace the damaged ceiling tiles throughout the library. As previously mentioned, one of our pages, Dylan Marcus, has resigned from the library to attend college. His last day is August 20th, 2021. We've reviewed the responses to the outside legal counsel and accounting services. We just engaged in this meeting. The Westchester Library System has began expanding their laptop library program into the local libraries. We are looking to work with them and offer that as well, along with our own lending that we added into our budget for this coming year.
I just want to say I'm really happy that we're doing that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We were one of the first libraries that they reached out to. I'm currently in the process of auditing our technology contracts and equipment. I'm waiting on prices from both Westchester Library System for the exact numbers and the network support company. Once I have that, I will make a recommendation to the board. That's my report.
Question real quick. On the bench in the children's room, we talked about something underneath this.
Yes.
Hands out.
Yep.
Is there a conclusion on that yet?
Bill is looking into it. He's going to get like a radiator type thing, but no work is being done until all of this is finished.
Okay, so any questions for Andrew? All right, so next, the policy committee. The policy committee has been working on some changes to the code of conduct. Patron code of conduct, we're actually changing the name from the patron responsibilities to patron code of conduct, and we're making a few changes in that, and we'll have that as soon as our new attorneys review it. And then we also are looking at email policy, and you can thank Tab for the work on helping us along with that. So more to be continued. Communications committee, you want to?
We met with, Tao and I met with several, with the local gentleman, Alex, to review the logo. At the committee meeting, we discussed email policy, or I'm sorry, we discussed how the logo timelines and branding would work. And then we had a demo from Library Market for their branding solution, which ties in with their website redesign. And that is all we did at the committee.
And I'm going to draw a logo that I'm going to see.
And then if you'd like, I can jump right into strategic planning and just give an update. Lynn sent the confidentiality statement to us. I've sent that to all of our members. I've received majority of members have signed and sent that back into us. Interviews are going well, and I've shared sample surveys from other libraries in Westchester who've been doing surveys for their strategic planning with our strategic planning committee. We'll be meeting again on Friday.
And you're going to start surveying the community in September.
That's the goal.
Okay. Well, let's hope we meet that goal. So, all right. Any questions about that? So, if there are no questions, I would like a motion Motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:25. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Okay. Okay,
I'll second.
okay, all in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned, thank you, we'll meet again officially for our planned monthly meeting on September 21st. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.